Welcome to The Explainer. If you've ever found yourself just staring at your AC unit, sweating, wondering why on earth it's betraying you on literally the hottest day of the year, well, you're in the right place. Today, we're completely demystifying common split AC problems. We're going to use a structured, really sensory-based diagnostic approach to decode exactly what your AC is trying to tell you. We're taking you from a frustrated consumer right to a focused troubleshooter. Okay, let's dive right into this. Picture this scenario. It is absolutely sweltering outside. Your air conditioner is humming away on the wall, but you are still sweating buckets inside. It's incredibly frustrating, right? I mean, the immediate instinct is to panic and assume the whole machine is just dead. But hey, before you do that, or before you go paying for unnecessary repairs, let's look at how you can figure out exactly what's wrong just by paying a little attention. To get there, let's look at our diagnostic roadmap for today. We're going to cover four main areas. First, water leaks and sweating. Second, low cooling and gas leaks. Third, strange noises and error lights. And fourth, power, sensors, and fan failures. All right, let's get into it.
Section 1. Water leaks and sweating.
So why does this happen? Well, water pooling is very often just a fundamental installation issue. If the drain pipe slope isn't angled downward correctly, water just pools inside the tray instead of, flowing outside. And eventually, it overflows right down your wall. Another massive culprit here? Uninsulated copper pipes. When the warm air in your room hits those naked, freezing cold pipes, the moisture in the air turns into water droplets, literally sweating. And finally, choked air filters. These can restrict airflow so severely that the internal cooling coils actually freeze over. Then, when the AC turns off, all that ice melts into a huge, watery mess.
But hey, the good news is this is highly preventable. Here's a crucial pro tip for you. Get a full professional service every 2 to 3 years. Regular servicing ensures those copper pipes stay properly wrapped and insulated, the filters are kept clear of deep dust, and the drain pipes are fully flushed out. This essentially stops these watery messes before they even have a chance to start.
Moving right along to Section 2, low cooling and gas leaks. Now, what's actually really interesting here is that sometimes there's nothing broken at all. The AC capacity might just be way too small for the room size. The compressor ends up running at 100% capacity, constantly overworking, which, by the way, totally spikes your electricity bills, but it simply lacks the muscle to cool the space. Other times, your air filters are so heavily choked with dust that the cold air literally cannot push through into the room. And then, there's the dreaded refrigerant gas leakage.
But before you pick up the phone to call a technician, let's actually do a quick DIY check using your own senses. Step 1. Check those air filters for heavy dust buildup. Step 2. Take them out, wash them under the tap, and dry them completely. Step 3. Put them back in, turn the AC on, and listen really closely to the indoor unit. Can you hear the blower fan actually spinning? If you can't hear that faint rush of wind pushing the air out, well, your blower fan might be failing and probably needs professional attention.
But what if the filters are perfectly clean, the fan is blowing strong, but the air coming out is just room temperature? Okay, let's clear up a massive misconception right now. Gas does not get consumed over time like fuel in a car. It operates in a completely closed loop. So if your AC is low on gas, it leaked, period. Refrigerant escapes through unsealed valves or damaged connections. Honestly, if a tech tells you it just naturally needs a yearly top-up, they aren't fixing the root cause.
So how do you know for sure if it's a leak? Simple. Use your nose. If you detect the faint, distinct smell of gas near the indoor or outdoor unit, that is a clear, undeniable sign of leakage. You're going to need an expert to physically locate the leak, securely seal those valves or pipes, and only then should they refill the refrigerant.
All right, on to Section 3, strange noises and error lights.
First, let's contrast the source of those annoying noises. If you hear a loud, vibrating, or rattling sound, track down where it's actually coming from. If the sound is from the outdoor compressor fan and it's just vibrating loudly through your window, simply sealing your window better might completely fix the nuisance. However, if that grinding or squeaking is coming from the indoor blower fan right above your head, that indicates an internal mechanical wear and tear issue, and that requires an expert to open the unit.
Then we have the visual alarms. A continuous flashing status light on the indoor unit, that is not just a quirky glitch that's going to magically go away if you restart it. It indicates a significant performance drop or a failing component somewhere in the system. You absolutely must never ignore this blinking light because it is literally the machine's critical early warning system.
In fact, a lot of modern AC brands take this a step further with specific digital displays. I actually love this quote from our source material. Error codes show exactly where the fault is. They act like an alert to protect the compressor from further damage. So instead of making you guess, the AC motherboard gives you a specific code, kind of like a check engine light right there on your wall. This is brilliant because it saves the absolute heart of the machine, the expensive compressor, from total destruction by shutting things down way before a minor fault turns into a catastrophic failure.
The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that you must never ignore those blinking lights or error codes. While washing a dusty filter is a fantastic DIY task, deciphering error codes, testing motherboards, and checking electrical continuity, that requires a trained professional technician to ensure the repairs are safe and proper.
Finally, Section 4. Power, Sensors, and Fan Failures.
Let's map out the 3 main invisible culprits that will totally stop an AC from running, even if it looks perfectly fine and clean on the outside. We are looking at a defective temperature sensor, an outdoor condenser fan motor failure, or a switchboard voltage overload that causes the entire power circuit to trip. Let's break these down.
A defective temperature sensor brilliantly illustrates one of the most confusing problems you can face. The AC turns on. The compressor constantly tries to start. You hear that deep hum kick in, and then it immediately stops. Click. Silence. This is very often just a rogue temperature sensor. It's a cheap, super easily replaceable part, but when it fails, it completely confuses the entire compressor cycle. It basically tricks the machine into thinking the room is already freezing cold, so it just shuts off prematurely.
But what if the compressor runs, gets dangerously hot, and then shuts down? It might be the outdoor fan motor. Here's an absolutely crucial DIY safety step to check this, especially if your AC hasn't been used in a year or two. Step 1, turn off all electrical power. I'm serious, flip the breaker completely off. Step 2, take a small wooden stick. Step 3, gently push the outdoor fan blades through the safety grill just to see if they rotate smoothly. Often, they get jammed up from rust and disuse, and if that fan is stuck, the compressor can't release heat, so it overheats and trips the whole system.
And speaking of the system tripping, this brings us to our final major diagnostic distinction. When the power cuts out every single time you turn the AC on, who do you actually call? Do you need an AC technician or do you need an electrician?
Let's clearly delineate these 2 roles so you don't waste your time or your money. If you're dealing with gas leaks, sensor issues, or failing internal parts, you call the AC tech. However, if your AC trips the main breaker the very moment you turn it on, and you discover that the current or voltage coming from your house's main switchboard exceeds the AC safety specifications, an AC technician cannot help you there. That's an electrical supply issue. You need an electrician to fix the switchboard and ensure stable voltage is actually reaching the unit. As we wrap up this deep dive, remember that using your senses, listening for weird rattles, looking for water drops, smelling for gas, is absolutely the best way to stay proactive about your machine's health. Stay proactive. Getting those regular checkups prevents sudden, frustrating breakdowns on sweltering days. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. So, before you mindlessly click that remote to lower the temperature again, ask yourself, what is your AC actually trying to tell you today?